My name is Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell, and with me today are Caleb Alexander and Chris Dawkins. We have a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And so even though the Republicans signed that spending bill to prevent a government shutdown, we still need to talk about all of the mess that was involved in getting this done. So first of all, I'm proud of the Democrats. They said that, according to Jasmine Crockett, we were just going to sit back, drink tea, and eat popcorn. So I'm proud of Democrats because they're always bailing the Republicans out when it comes to this budget that prevents a government shutdown. So what do you guys want to say about this?
Well, first of all, I think it was very good. I do agree with you with the Democrats. There's a very small margin that the Republicans have in the House. So when King Jeffries came by or actually talked about this possible government shutdown, he said, we already had a deal with the Republicans.
Sure did.
And after they had the deal, when Elon Musk and Donald Trump found out about it, they reneged or said, stop that, because they didn't want that. Mm-hmm. My question is this. Number one, these guys haven't even taken office yet. And what the hell does Elon Musk have to do with anything? I understand he's damn near bought the presidency and he's involved. But ain't that a conflict of interest and all the stuff that he's got going on and the money that he's getting from federal government? This is a I don't even want to tell you what I want to say about it.
It's a joke.
Well, so what really threw me off, because at first Trump approved of the deal, and then when Elon said no, Trump turned around and went back and said no. You know what I mean? And so it looks like Elon is really running stuff. Yeah, Elon's running stuff. So if Trump can say yes, if Elon says no, then it's no. You know what I mean? And so get ready for the next 4 years of South Africa here.
This is just really so crazy that you would have this type of a situation going on in the United States. Who would have ever thunk it?
Mm-hmm. You know, I knew that we were going to have issues with Project 2025. I was mentally prepared for that. Mm-hmm. But Elon, and one of the reasons why Trump and Elon said no, because they were going to put a limit on the on the debt ceiling. But he don't want that because the tax break that Trump gave to the rich expires in 2025.
Correct.
So they need that space in there to give the rich their tax credit or exempt, or have them not pay taxes for another 2 years. So Elon is kind of what they say, you can take the boy out of apartheid, but you can't take the apartheid out the boy. This is what we're seeing. What we're seeing. And the other thing that really ticked me off was there was $100 million set aside for research on childhood, to help children medically. Okay, I'm just going to say that because I forgot exactly what it was. That was set aside. But Elon got what he wanted.
No, he didn't. What do you mean, when?
Well,
not on the government shutdown, he didn't.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of the no debt ceiling.
Mm-hmm. So, and this is just this is a stopgap because they got to revisit it in January.
Is it
No,
in March?
In March. So they got to revisit it. So it's just to stop temporary funding. So the battle's gonna come. We're gonna see who's really in charge.
You know, I think it's really interesting. I never thought about this, and that because the margin is so slim in the House, unless every Republican votes for something, then you need Democrats, okay? Right. And they can sit back and not do anything until you decide to want to come to Democrats to be able to get something passed. So it's really, to a certain degree, it might be a good thing.
Ain't none of them Republicans, the House Republicans ain't gonna step out of line. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
But the thing is that if they don't step out of line, or let me say, if the speaker doesn't step out of line and go over and get some of the Democrats, we can't get nothing passed. Period.
So let's talk about the speaker bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, was it Paul Rand?
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. Hey, Rand Paul. So what does he say? That the Republicans are looking at making Elon Musk the Speaker of the House. So I had to go back and look up that because I said, what? Doesn't have to be a member of Congress? No, there's no provisions in the Constitution saying that the Speaker of the House needs to be a congressional member.
Right.
But unless these jokers just completely throw away the Constitution, and at this stage of the game, anything is possible with the group, okay? Elon Musk cannot become president because that would make the Speaker of the House's third in line.
Right.
With the next president being the president pro tem of the Senate, of the Senate, okay? Elon Musk can't become president because he's not a natural born citizen of the United States.
Right.
They'd have to just skip over him.
The other thing is too, is that you don't have to be a lawyer or on the Supreme Court to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. You know what I mean? So he could appoint anybody. If something happens to Roberts or Roberts retires, he can appoint anybody to Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. They don't have to be a member of the Supreme Court, or even an attorney.
You know, one of the things I know we're going to go into our next hot topic subject, but I don't know about you, but ever since now Trump and Musk, I call them Trust, have come on board, it's forcing me to really do some research on politics. You know, because again, I didn't know about that thing about the Speaker of the House. So it's making you unless you don't care, really dig deep into what are you talking about.
What I really wish is that some of those people, like Elon Musk and the other people that you talk about, would be researching as much as you're researching. Because they don't know shit about what the hell they talking about.
But the problem is he has an army of people who do. He has an army of people behind him who's telling him he knows what he wants to do and where he wants to go, and he sends his army of researchers and AI technology and everything else.
Okay, so if that's true, how did he come up with this deal and how bad it was? You can count and tell that you can't get this shutting down the government thing through. So if he's got all those people that he obviously either is not listening to them or he's not using them, because this could be telegraphed from a far away that they ain't no way they're gonna get that. And like Jasmine Sullivan said, she's gonna just sit down and drink tea and eat a popcorn.
There's always the human factor, right?
Huh?
There's always the human factor.
Yeah.
So he can think that nobody's going to defy Trump. Because remember, in their mind, Trump had this massive electoral victory, and none of the Republicans are going to defy him, and they're going to be in lockstep. So Elon can say no, and then get Trump to say no, but you forgot the human factor. Mike Johnson has the actual responsibility of governing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so he can't just sit there and throw bombs.
Right.
You have to keep the federal government open.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
they've gone through this lesson before. They've gone through this whole process a number of times before, and they see that you can't do it, and they continually to try to still do it.
And they will continue. They're going to continue. They're going to continue to shut down agencies, critical agencies.
But you know what the saving grace is that Biden confirmed 235 federal judges. So we already know the lawsuits are already been written up, pending, for all kind of appeals. So I like the idea that he went ahead and got all those judges lined up. And these are judges who understand civil rights, the environment, business, education, medical industry. So Biden did his sayonara, putting those judges in place. And so I have some hope that the democracy won't be messed up that bad.
Mm-hmm. Unless they are able to get to circuit courts and the Supreme Court.
Biden listened to Carl Booker.
Mm-hmm.
And when he listened to Carl Booker, that's why he ended up doing what he did. And if people don't know who Carl Booker is, Google him.
The great genius, Carl Booker.
We'll talk about you in a minute, Carl. So the next thing is this: we have a YouTuber, and his name is Augustus, and I can't think of his name, but he's with the Defiant Lawyers, and he had an interesting show on this week where he was sending out a request from the Black pastors who are AWOL. And so what makes it really interesting about him was he is a pastor, plus he's also a civil rights attorney. And his complaint was that Black pastors, and I have to agree, they are not as involved with the social injustice issues like they did in the past. So where are these Black pastors? Why are they afraid of not getting their feet wet on social injustice issues?
I agree.
I'm calling on my clergy brethren
We had the clip
to
but
get
right
involved
now,
in this fight for racial justice. You are badly
there it
missed and needed.
the Defiant
Desperately
Lawyers,
so.
Augustus Coburn.
We need to
And
revive
he's from he's
a
here from
black
here in
clergy
Texas.
racial justice movement in this country. We have done tremendous things in the past when we came together as Black clergy.
So again, that's Augustus Coburn, and he was on the Defiant Lawyers. And so one of the things that I really like about this particular site is he really goes into the legal implications of Trumpism or trustism now with Elon Musk involved. But his question is, and we have brought it up on previous shows, where are the Black pastors?
Good question.
Where are they? Where are they?
Good question.
Are they still relevant? And I mean, and that's because we know that the demographics in the Black church are older. Not as many young folks are going to church as much. And so, again, with those changing demographics, there's if we're able to have an open, honest conversation, there's not a lot of unity between the churches and amongst the churches.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And so you have a sense of competition for parishioners and resources and influence and even titles. You know what I mean? So if you're a pastor, then I'm going to be a bishop.
Well, one of the things that I have heard, where are especially the young Black men? Why aren't they in church? Well, maybe one of the issues, and again, I have to go back to my son. We've had this discussion. He says, "Well, Mom, I'm not hearing things pertinent to what's happening right now coming out of the pulpit." He says, yes, the sermons are good sermons. He says, but we've got some situations going on right now where we need to hear that voice from the pulpit more often than not.
I'm not going to get into that debate right now because I think that what you should really be listening to is the voice of God and maybe looking at your spirituality and the Bible as opposed to ever listening to anything that comes out of a pastor's mouth, because who the hell knows what might come out of their mouth. So that's a whole topic for a different show.
There's also the credibility issue, because we've seen people that lift up a lot of these mega pastors only to later find out that they are human.
Exactly.
With the same human failings that everyone else has.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of, that kind of disparate amongst people. The other thing also, in addition to that, is if you look at the pastors of old, the ones that were able to mobilize the community, you know what I mean, and just look at the education that you would have in a Dr. King or Dr. Abernathy or, you know what I mean? And so these were very, very clergy was very, very learned, and they were able to speak to contemporary social issues and place them within a broader context, political context, international context. You know what I mean? And so if you look at are the pastors even equipped to address
We'll have those discussions.
contemporary social issues?
You know, this goes back to what I was talking about last week on last week's show with the minister from the Nation of Islam. And I'm saying we need our pastors now more than we ever have. Their picture on a milk carton and them being non-existent is not what we need at this particular point in time. We need all hands on deck, and if they aren't relative, they need to become relevant again because we need them now. We need the guidance of what they can do for us, and they cannot think about just their congregation or what immediate might happen for them personally. This is about the black race, and the pinnacle of the black race right now, to me, is with ministers. And we need them now, and I can't stress that enough.
You know, some of them say that, you know, they don't want to bring politics into the pulpit. Well, politics is hurting black folks.
Politics is everywhere, regardless of,
It's hurting black folks. So, you know, why not?
And that goes back for me, kind of like people talking about the Democrats not having a spine, you know, and not being able to deal with it.
Right.
You know, he don't have a problem bringing in politics into the pulpit.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, there's some of these evangelical Christians that don't have a problem bringing in the politics into the pulpit.
Right.
So we have got to get savvy and be able to do these things. We, I think, as people, have allowed them to do whatever they wanted to do, but right now we need them now.
But Jesus was political. His ministry was political. He was about challenging social inequities.
That's right.
He was about challenging the power of empires, the power of Rome, the power of Judea, the power of those governments. It was all political. It was about challenging those kind of inequities. You know what I mean? So it's just the idea that, I don't want to bring politics to the church. What are you in church for? And who are you listening to? Who are you worshiping? What scriptures are you reading?
And for the ministers, I would say, let my people go. Let my
scriptures
people.
that you read? Yeah, I mean, it's all political. But I mean, again, in order to have that kind of movement, what you're asking is human beings to be able to step back and give up their ego and follow. You see what I'm saying? In order to build that kind of movement, there has to be a structure, and within that structure, there has to be leadership. So what you're asking people to do is to step back and follow.
As we leave this particular topic, you know, I think leadership is really where it comes down to. Nobody, you know, they want to be the leader in their church, but nobody wants to be the leader of black people. Okay?
Who wants to follow?
I want to follow.
But see, you're asking a pastor who's the leader of his church or leader of his community to now follow, become a follower.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So and we're talking about people who are human.
And a leader can become a follower.
The best ones are.
You know, sometimes you have to step back and just, okay, who's the best person for the job?
Exactly.
I will follow that person.
Exactly.
I'm good at this job. Y'all follow me.
Right.
So you have to, a transformational leader has the ability to, to pinpoint who's on first, who's on second, where that person is the best person for the job, knowing that he's still leading, but he's also showing that he can follow.
And Bear Rushton is the greatest example of that, who organized the civil rights movement, but stood in the shadows and let the most dynamic speakers stand out and take front stage, while he was the one who built the machine and did the organizing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what true leadership is about. You know what I mean? You let the people get everybody in their position to do what needs to be done.
So great discussion on that. So okay, so a couple of months ago, I saw an article where Herschel Walker was going to be the director of the missile shield, right?
Good
The,
Lord.
the what?
Yes, he was supposed to be the director of the missile shields.
What is that?
That's where they, do orbit things, the shields out in orbit and pretend, it's a military thing, okay?
You gonna put him in charge of that? Oh my God!
So I went ahead and put it up on Facebook, right?
Oh man!
And of course there were the laughs. I said, you can't make this up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Pete, what's his name? Pete Hedgehog. What's his name? Headship. Anyway, maybe he was saying, "Wait a minute, I'm the possible Secretary of Defense, and I don't think I want to see this person as the director of the space shield." Okay.
Well, he won't want to anyway because he's a damn neo-Nazi.
So anyway, so Trump went ahead and announced this week that Herschel Walker is now the ambassador will be the ambassador to the Bahamas.
And if I was the prime minister of the Bahamas, I would reject his credentials and send him right back to the U.S.
And why is that?
Because I would say you obviously are not serious about our bilateral relationship. If you want to have a serious relationship with us, send us a serious ambassador. Don't send us Herschel Walker, who doesn't know where he's at. This man will show up to an event talking about I'm glad to be in Colombia.
For my own edification, could a prime minister of another country do that?
Yeah, he has to, as an ambassador to the United States, he has to go and present his credentials. And you can reject those credentials and tell him, you have 24 hours to get out of my country.
Wow.
Yeah, you can reject the ambassador's credentials.
So Herschel's going to have some problems.
If I forgot who the ambassador is. If it's who I'm thinking it is, if it's that sister who I'm thinking it is, he might have some issues because she ain't playing. So it just depends on who the prime minister is of the Bahamas.
Well, let me ask this real quick. So let's play this out. If the prime minister were to say something like that, couldn't the U.S. then cut off whatever that they're doing? They could say, well, we don't want to have travel to the Bahamas anymore. We'll send an ambassador. We'll send Caleb over there, but you can't have any more visitors over there. We're going to make a travel restriction to the Bahamas.
And you think people in the U.S. is still going to not be able to get to the Bahamas?
They're going to go to Mexico.
Go to Mexico.
They go to Mexico and
then go to the Bahamas. And Trump is not going to do that because of the CEOs of the airlines, the CEOs of the cruise ships. You know what I mean? And so that's not happening. He's going to have to send somebody who's acceptable.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened before, and it's not like it's rare because people can reject an ambassador.
Thank you for that, because I didn't know that.
Yes, they have to present their credentials.
So Herschel Walker, possible ambassador to the Bahamas.
Ooh-wee.
And then finally, I'm going to let you have this one about Shirley Chisholm.
No, Chris. This is the one who told us.
Yeah, Shirley Chisholm was actually honored with a congressional medal, and I can't say the word posthumously. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she was given that, which I think was an excellent award to be able to give her, to be able to recognize her. So I'm just happy to do that. And I think because of us being what I consider a news show, that we should bring that to you, because it did not get a lot of media attention in the media about her getting that award. And Contemporary Black Voices is saying we're going to allow you to know that.
She did a lot. She's the first Black woman to run for president.
Run for president, right?
She's done a lot. She's done a lot. And there is a movie on Netflix about
and Regina King plays.
Excellent role.
Yeah,
she looks almost like her.
Yeah, she did a real good job.
So, you want to say something else?
Nope. I thought you were closing out.
Oh, I am. I thought you had your finger.
I know.
It's like church. Well, before we sign off, we really do want to take a moment to thank our producers, Carl Booker and Linnell Taylor. Without them, contemporary Black voices and contemporary Black voices hot topics could not be around. One more thing. We have a newspaper called Black San Antonio,
Black Life Texas.
Black Life Texas San Antonio, and we also have Black Life Texas Austin. And so if you want to go to blacklifetexas.com, you can subscribe to both editions, one for San Antonio and also Austin. But we have a lot of good articles in it. I'm going to open this one up. I talk about the essence of love and soul food. I wrote this one, so I'm gonna advertise this one. It's okay.
That's okay.
But we all contribute to the paper, and so we wanted you to also know again, if you're in San Antonio, I have seen this at HEB, the Jerk Shack. I've seen it at Miss Williams Williams Confectionery Crafts Restaurant. So probably in the barber shop is across the street at the Carver Library. At Austin, it's probably I would guess it's at the HEBs in Austin as well. But if you can't find it, do sign on and subscribe and support us. With that being said, this is
One last thing.
I see there's that finger.
There's that thing.
They can also, I think, access the paper via the website. So,
blacklifetexas.com.
Yeah, blacklifetexas.com. Thank you.
Okay, so you had that finger going up, had that church thing going up. So anyway, this is Sharon Michael Chadwell. We have Chris Dawkins and Caleb Alexander. We all want to say, first of all, we want to wish everybody
Merry
Christmas, and we'll be seeing you in the new year. And so this is, again, Contemporary Black Voices, where we tell our story our way.